Welcome to today's Tech Tuesday conversation, where we're going to focus on the next 3 quarters of earnings for many of these tech and media companies. And the reason why is we're headed into earnings season for the most recent quarter. And depending upon the corporation, this is a different quarterly number, but they're all going to fall within the same 2-week period, at least as far as reporting is concerned. And it'll give us some insight into where these companies are headed, what direction they are headed, I should say, financially, as we look into, what their performance numbers are now while we're completely engulfed in a recession. To put it into simpler terms, we're actually going to be looking at where their customers, these companies' customers, are putting their incredibly valuable money that is even more scarce than it was before with the limited buying power that it now has. As far as these companies are concerned, how much more support are these companies going to expect from consumers who are starting to recognize that the reason that they're in this mess is because of the ideological support of some of these companies that they support, which is weird, but here we go. Earnings season actually does kick off today, the day we're airing this video. You see, the tech media giant Netflix is actually going to be reporting their quarterly earnings today, actually this afternoon, and they're likely to set the pace for what we can anticipate from Warner, Disney, Paramount Global, maybe further up the chain when it comes to the studio media companies. But it'll also let us peer deeper into some of these pure tech companies like Apple and Meta, etc., as far as what their futures might hold as well. You see, they all share the same customer base, and they've been rapidly eroding that base, which is weird. And I fully expect, and so do the experts that are out there, that this is going to be a very disappointing quarter from Netflix, and I think probably many of these other entities as well. In fact, I think this is going to show up as a 20% decline year over year for Netflix as far as earnings go.
Whew. Now I feel better.
And that's not going to be a great way to kick off this, earnings season. Netflix is somewhat to blame here when it comes to the expectations that they put out there for the subscriber numbers, and that's what they had their investors focused on. So they took far too long to adopt the ad tier into their offerings instead of being a leader when it comes to streaming, which of course they had been for a very long time. And their negligence, of course, has caused a decline in overall growth that's going to be reflected in about 2 million, or just under 2 million, I should say, new subscribers for Q3. And that's actually a 50% less than the previous year over year, or the previous Q3's results, in order to say that better. The C-suite is actually going to spin this by projecting huge growth for their November launched ad tier, which again, as I mentioned before, they took too long to announce in the first place. The new tier is actually going to be launching on November 3rd, about a month before Disney's able to get their own product up and running, at least as far as their ad tier goes. And this may work for Netflix, or it may not. At $7 a month, a price that's actually just $1 less than the original service charge back in 2010, which gave you 2 screens of HD service for $7.99 or $8. The new ad tier is actually only going to offer 720p to one television. So 12 years after the date that I just presented, you're going to get far less for your money, and you're still going to have to watch ads. Strangely, the new tier only saves you that $2 a month from what the basic plan would give you, which is basically the same service level with no ads. So, what's the incentive to have an ad tier? In my opinion, this is not enough price differential or value for the customer. So investors are going to be told that the ad tier is going to increase ARPU, average revenue per user, because of the 4 or so commercials that will be aired every single hour, or viewers will be forced to consume every single hour. I would imagine that with the numbers they've released and made public, if you can check this out on Tom's Guide if you want to, you're going to see 4 to 5 minutes per hour of commercials. Consumers will also find that for the older content there, like older movies and TV shows, there's also going to be some mid-roll ads instead of the beginning of the show ads that you'll get on, the other newer program. And this means all the effort that all of us took to cut the cord, some of us over a decade ago, will actually be negated here because you're back to kind of a cable or satellite bundle option, which is insane because you're gonna have to watch commercials.
Oh boy.
And even with the distraction of this ad tier, Netflix will likely have some difficulty convincing investors that this will greatly expand their subscriber base, because I don't think it really will. It also plays into the idea that these customers watch more than 1 or 2 programs per month, which in fact recent surveys show that more than 60% of customers on the paying side of the equation are really only watching 1 show a month. That's insane. People aren't going to be watching all that many commercials. So what is actually the point? Well, ad tier services are going to actually be, in my opinion, very disappointed because this is not the panacea that they're looking for. In fact, they're going to have to look harder and deeper into themselves as far as content spend and marketing and, show selection, what they choose to put out there as original content. And in light of what we expect out of Netflix, I think that the first week of November will be a very rough week indeed for tech and media because they're going to be reporting their earnings. And again, that includes Disney on November 8th and obviously Warner Brothers Discovery on the 3rd of November. Of all of these studio tech properties, I expect that Disney might be the only winner, or at least on the positive side of things when it comes to all of this. Again, it has nothing to do with Disney Plus. It'll have to do with the theme parks and ESPN, because that's kind of where all their money's coming from right now. And since tech and media are so closely related, in fact, the sectors are basically the same thing now, at least that's what it seems to most of us, I expect the tech side of the equation to take a huge pounding. I think that when they report their earnings, they're going to be disappointing as well. And of course, that's the reason that I put this video in a Tech Tuesday position, because tech and media are basically interlocked at this point.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Do you think that media and tech are going to be able to overcome the financial downturn that we have been embroiled in for at least the last 2, possibly 3 quarters? Do you think that Netflix will start revealing the cracks in all of these monetization schemes that all of these media and tech companies have? Do you think that tech will actually suffer from similar issues now? And of course, going forward, I think all of those things are true, but I'm interested in what you have to say. So leave a comment in the section down below and let's have a conversation about it. Because again, engagement is incredibly important, not just to me, but to all the other independent creators that you support. They need you to hit the like button just like I do. They need you to subscribe to their channel just like I do. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, which about 40% of you aren't, if you wouldn't mind hitting the red subscribe button, it's free and I would appreciate it. And it'll give you an opportunity to check out all of the content whenever it's aired, especially if you hit the little bell and select all notifications, because here on this channel, you get a minimum, most weeks, I should say, a minimum of 7 live streams and 4 or 5 videos at minimum. And then of course, on the expanded channel roster, we have more stuff coming from the Cultured Builds channel for the DIY folks out there. And the Cultured Gaming channel is also about to kick off. So hopefully you'll subscribe to those, and eventually the Live Archives channel will be live as well. So I'm very excited about that. But again, support independent creators. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and of course, share. Sharing is a big deal on social media. And with that, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, quick note, I do in the description have all of the links to the articles you can peruse yourself, and you can dive down the same digital rabbit hole that I did. There's a lot more out there, and it's a subject worth studying. So, feel free to dive in. That'll also help us have a conversation about this. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. And don't forget to check out my Rumble at rumble.com/CultureCasino.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.